If you haven't been in a relationship before, it's hard to understand just how deeply breakups can affect you. It's like taking a hair and ripping it straight out of your head. So yes, breakups are painful. In fact, this video is being made on a request from a fellow brother who commented that I can't move on from my ex. Especially if you spent so many years with that woman, you will often have the memories flood back in your mind of the times you spent with her. There might be times when you look over your shoulder and see another couple enjoying themselves, only to fall back into remembering your ex. Fortunately, there are ways for you to escape this trap of misery after a breakup. And in this video, you're about to find the 5 ways to harness the masculinity in you to do just that. Number 1. There's no going back. The first step in moving on from a breakup is to come to terms with the reality that you two will likely never be together again. This is a hard pill to swallow, but it's the one and only truth. There must be a total mind shift that happens inside you. Instead of seeing yourself as a man who has gone through a breakup, simply look at yourself as a single man. You may subconsciously believe that there's a chance for her to magically come back or to have her attraction for you again. But these are delusions created by your attachment for her. Men who have this sort of mentality also remind me of a movie called Hachi, A Dog's Tale. In this movie, the dog loses his owner and spends the rest of his last years of life waiting for him to come back, until he dies as well. This is the exact lie that you are repeating to yourself. The first step is to come to terms with the loss. Like a dead relative, bury her. I don't mean you should physically go bury her, but make a total flip in your mind that accepts her as long gone. Never look back to the past heights of the relationship because that will only make the process slower and more painful. Another thing to keep in mind is to avoid contact with her until you've fully moved on. She might still want to be your friend or keep you in her life, but before accepting that offer, you must go through the process of forgetting about her completely. Number 2. Replace her with delayed gratification. An outstandingly common reaction to a breakup for most men is to try and drown their sadness with instant gratification. They waste so much precious time backtracking through their progress because they lack the courage and strength to deal with the depression that they're feeling. Brothers, this might be the worst mistake of your entire life, so listen to my words carefully. One of the easiest and fastest ways to move on completely from her is to not replace her with free dopamine, but with the art of delayed gratification and hard work. There's nothing that can soothe a man more than his craft, and you should keep that in mind for whenever you feel like giving up. One such case could be a bad breakup. Another important aspect to keep in mind is the fact that the harder you work and the more time you dedicate to your purpose, the higher value you'll become, and thus the more higher quality women you'll be able to attract. Number 3. Use the breakup as a fuel. This point is closely tied to the previous one and for obvious reasons. I mentioned those men who drown their sorrows in instant gratification, but there's also other kinds of men who just drown directly in their misery without attempting to fix the issue. The difference between the two is hardly present though, since they both get tormented with the chaos that ensues after a breakup. You might have found yourself going through this exact situation and wondered, how can I stop this pain for good? There's only one answer to this, and that is to channel all this misery into your actions to better yourself. As hard as this may sound, it's the only logical and proven method. So this is how it works. You broke up. Now you feel all sad and depressed. Now, take a few days to let your emotions flow if you must, but here's the most important part. After those few days of letting your emotions flow, don't allow yourself to stay in the state of sadness. Those days you took to let your emotions run free weren't there to make you more depressed, but to help you come to terms with the fact that she's gone. Now, after coming to terms with these facts, it's time to use that as fuel. And that's why I suggest you take the challenge of a breakup with gratitude, due to the incredible potential it has to improve you. If you start taking it in with a sense of hope for a better future, you'll quickly stop feeling like a sorry loser and more like an actual man that you are. Number 4. Embrace the change. There are two kinds of people in this world: those who see loss as a negative thing and those who see it as a source of new opportunities, as a stepping stone. After a breakup, you have to be more like the latter. Any and all men I've met over my life, regardless of their success with moving on from their ex, have always had a sense of loss and felt deprived of their little safe space. I will not deny the fact that it is indeed a very natural reaction to such an event. But keeping a mindset of freedom is what you must practice. A stoic mindset is what you must adopt. That only comes with an abundance mindset. Let's say you have a business that's generating millions in cash for you. You have a circle of brothers you can go to. You have a family that loves you and a mission you are actively working towards each day. Do you think this breakup will be able to keep you in a low state for long periods of time? Most definitely not. Sure, you may feel down for a few days, but the other abundant aspect of your life will push you up like a spring. But if your other parts of life are coming crashing down as well, then no wonder you want to hold on to that woman, because she was the only good thing about your life. It's needless to say that most relationships nowadays can be a huge headache for most men. So in order to achieve the most out of the process I just explained, you should really remind yourself why you two broke up in the first place. It was for the better. It's like getting rid of strings that were holding you down so you can run free. And finally, number 5, never replace her with another woman. This point is important to me on a personal level. I've seen this exact thing happen way too many times, and the results of this are more than catastrophic. Out of the men who try to move on, these are the least successful because they avoid the pitfall of the breakup entirely. Think of it this way. These men are drug addicts that, in order to beat their addiction for good, switch to a different, less potent drug. The result? Way worse than you'd think. I see so many guys who think that the best way to move on from their ex is to replace her directly with another woman without even daring to move on. All they do is injure themselves even further along with a poor innocent in the process. Their neediness for women increases and their ability to handle their emotions does not improve. The failure of a relationship should be a stepping stone in the process of learning how to love. But a direct replacement is the opposite of that. It's just a quick fix that lasts little and has terrible downsides. Never make the selfish decision to be a hole hopper and stay in the path that God has chosen for you. You will find these types of men go out and try to find a woman with a similar body shape as their ex, or they try to imagine that the new girl is their ex. I will say it again, that's a one-way ticket to misery. By the way, don't forget to show some love. Tap that subscribe button and hit like for the algorithm. To see the next best way to level up as a man, watch these videos here.